Hi everyone. Tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Jane Goodall. Um, she's someone that I've known about for a long time and who has recently been I've been reminded of her. So I've kind of got a I wanted to do some research on her and present a little speech about her so we could get some more information I could share it with you guys. So some may not recognize the name Jane Goodall right off. But when you say Jane Goodall, the lady who lives with the chimps, everyone says, "Oh, I know who that is." So I found this to be true not too long ago with my husband. He was given the opportunity to go see Jane Goodall speak at the college, and this sparked the idea to do this speech about her and to get some information about how she grew up, how she came to live among the chimps, and a little bit about her education and her work as an author. She was born Valerie Jane Morris Goodall on April 3rd, 1934 in London, England. Her father, Mortimer, was an engineer and her mother was an author. About this time, it was 1934, so this was pre-World War II. So you can kind of picture that, Hitler's already in power, taking over Germany, but the war hasn't begun yet. So she has a happy childhood. She's always loved animals. From the time she was a little baby, she's loved animals. And when she was one, her father bought her a little toy chimpanzee that was to commemorate or honor a baby chimpanzee born at the London Zoo. And the family's friends thought that this was kind of crazy because you don't give a little baby a toy chimpanzee because they thought it would scare her, but she loved it. And she carried it with her everywhere she went. So about the time she was 5 in 1939, she decided one day that she was going to go play in the hen house, and she was curious about where the eggs come from with the chickens. So she was out in the hen house for hours, and no one knew where she was. So her whole family was looking for her, and they couldn't find her. But she had no idea. She was in her own little world, imagining, about these animals and how these eggs were developed. And I guess she had at some point heard about Africa, and she decided at that young age that when she grew up, she wanted to go to Africa. And after a while, she came out of the hen house and ran into the house to talk to her mother and tell her how excited she was that someday she wanted to go to Africa. And instead of her mother getting on to her for disappearing and everyone worrying about her, her mother encouraged Jane to follow her dreams and to, work hard, and if she worked hard enough, then she can make it happen one day. So shortly after that, World War II sparked up, and Jane's father was an engineer, and he went into the army as a army engineer, and he went off to war and pretty much lost the family and didn't really have anything more to do with them for quite a while. So she was left with her mom, and she did have a sister. So when her dad came home, her mom and dad ended up getting divorced. In 1952, Jane graduated from high school, and they didn't have the money for her to go to college. So instead of her going to college, she learned to become a secretary and worked at Oxford University as a secretary. And then she eventually went to work in a film company where she chose music for documentaries. And she did that for a while, and then in 1956 she was invited to Kenya by a friend. And so for about a year she saved her money. She moved back home with her mom, and saved her money up to go on this trip to Kenya. And during this trip, she met a famous anthropologist named Dr. Louis Leakey. And she impressed Dr. Leakey so much with her knowledge of animals and all things animals that he hired Jane as his assistant. So with no education, no college education, she got a job with an anthropologist studying animals, her dream job. So Dr. Leakey and Jane wanted to study chimps, and the British government wasn't too enthused about a young single woman living in Africa without any kind of parental guidance or support. So Dr. Leakey and Jane were in Africa, and her mother agreed to go with her because of the concerns of the British government. So for the first 3 months of her journey to Africa, her mother stayed with her. So Jane arrived in Gombe on July 4th, 1960. And during the first several months of her journey, the chimps didn't accept Jane. Gradually, over that first year, the chimps got used to her being around them, and gradually they kind of went about their business and let her see them in their normal daily routines. You know, they were believed to be vegetarians, and she actually witnessed them eating meat and using tools, a stick to stick into a termite mound and dig out the termites and lick the termites off the stick. No other animal knows how to use a tool to feed itself other than a chimpanzee, and she witnessed this. In 1962, she was accepted into Cambridge University into their PhD program. Now, Jane has never gone to college. She had no college education at all, but she was accepted into a PhD program at Cambridge University, which was, it happened, but it was very unheard of. Through Cambridge University, she earned her degree in ethology, which is the study of animal behavior. In 1963, her first article was published in National Geographic, and it was titled "My Life Among Chimpanzees." In 1977, she established the Jane Goodall Institute for Wildlife Research, Education, and Conservation. In 1984, she began the groundwork for Chimpanzoo, which is an international research program that is dedicated to study captive chimpanzees and improve their lives through the research that she does through that organization. Finally, Jane was made a Dame, which is like a knight, right, or sir, and for the masculine form of that, it's a knighthood, on February 20th, 2004, during a ceremony at Buckingham Palace in London. Today, Jane does speaking engagements, like I talked about in the beginning. She was here March 31st of 2016 at a college speaking. She travels 300 days out of the year, going around and talking about the threats that face chimpanzees, the environmental crisis that she has witnessed, and her hopes that eventually these problems that we have caused on Earth will be resolved. So I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.